Welcome to The Sporting Chance. This podcast is brought to you by Midnight Falconry, makers of high-quality falconry leashes and jesses. Check them out at midnightfalconry.com. Ashley Clark Falconry, the highest quality leather falconry equipment, handmade in England, built to last and looks damn good while you're at it. Check them out at aclarkfalconry.co.uk. Be sure and use the code SportingChance10 at checkout. North Mountain Goshawks. Seth Roy is breeding high-quality, true parent-reared goshawks in addition to imprint goshawks on order. Check him out at northmountaingoshawks.com. All right. Welcome, everyone, to the Sporting Chance podcast. I am Aaron Kincaid.
And I'm Casey.
And we are joined today by Marshall Feinburg. And this would be our first non-falconry podcast we've done.
Yeah.
What do you think, Casey?
I think we're going to come out of the comfort zone, but we're going to cover a lot of stuff that falconers would enjoy. You know, most of us will enjoy.
I think so. And
it kind of runs along the same niche.
That's right.
Exactly. It's
killing stuff with other animals.
Yeah, right. That's what we're all about.
Yeah.
It was kind of what we envisioned in the first place, was just not keeping it strictly falconry. That's the name of the podcast, is The Sporting Chance, and it's based on a book that covers hunting with, believe it or not, toads. He talks about
No way.
Dave Mannix. He talks about giant cane toads, and he ties a string to them, and he puts them in a flower bed, and he would halfway submerge a flower pot so it has like a little cave that it could go into, and then he would sprinkle seed outside the flower pot, and the toad would jump out and grab sparrows,
and then he would run over and pry its little mouth open.
I guess.
Or put a little band around its big throat, like the cormorants in China.
Yeah.
He talks about hunting with a cheetah, and we've all heard of that before.
Yeah.
But he has a really funny story in there about he had a cheetah that he would hunt coyotes with out west.
Oh my God, that's so cool.
He was out in the middle of nowhere, and it's just like trapping hawks. Somebody is going to show up at the worst possible time, right?
Of course.
So he's out in like no man's land, middle of nowhere with his cheetah, and a guy comes by on a motorcycle. And what's the cheetah do?
Chase it.
Chases his ass.
Yeah.
And he said he never talked to the guy. The guy got away unscathed, but you can imagine that guy had to think he was like tripping balls, because he looks beside him and sees a cheetah coming after him doing 50 miles an hour.
Does he get into any of the details? Because I know there's because I remember Scott McNeff, a falconer that used to be, he's from Maine, and he used to be NAFA's president at one point. He did a presentation years ago when I was a kid at our falconry meet, and he was talking about, not that he did it, but I think he went and visited people that did it. And he was talking about how the trade-off method is very similar, where they offer a smaller piece of meat to the cheetah and get it to let go of the gazelle or whatever. And then it jumps off, then they take the gazelle and throw it in the truck and either take another cheetah out and catch more or something like that. But yeah, what were their names? The two brothers, the twins?
The Craigheads.
Oh, the Craigheads, yeah. They did that. Yeah, they had documentation of that.
Yeah, neat stuff. So Marshall is a dog man. Is that safe to say, Marshall?
I think it's pretty safe to say now. It's been a lot of different dog stuff I've been doing lately. So it's a realm of working with dogs.
Good.
So you've been professionally working with dogs for as long as I've known you, but how long has that been?
Probably I've been doing pet and behavior modification stuff for the past 5 to 6 years.
Very cool. And right now you are?
Right now I'm doing goose control with border collies, keeping geese and turkeys as well now off of different spaces of HOA lands, airports, golf courses, but mostly HOA lands.
Yeah, geese are a big problem.
Yeah, huge problem.
I don't know about historically. Is their population higher now than it used to be?
It's a lot higher now. In comparison to a lot of these places where we started at, we would see 50 to 60, sometimes 100 geese in some of these ponds. And luckily for consistent work of these border collies, we're able to keep a lot of them at bay. But yeah, there's really nowhere else for them to go besides just moving them and rotating them.
They probably benefited from the clear cutting of, woods and fields to short grass with water features and drainage ditches and things like that.
I've heard supposedly there are some pest control companies that like use eagles for that too.
No way.
Dog thing, just to like spook them out. I doubt they can actually like go after them. I'm not sure.
Oh, an eagle could definitely catch a goose, man. Easily.
Yeah. Casey, how many geese have you caught with your goshawks?
I think I caught 4. I caught 4 and the last one that she caught, she got the living piss beat out of her. And I couldn't remember, forgot it. I mean, she grabbed some that I let go when I let go because a lady was watching me. and I said, "You silly bird," and I traded it off, and then the goose flew away, and I said, "You silly bird, what are you?" I said, "I told you not to do that," and then I walked away, and the lady was just standing there smoking a cigarette, staring at me, and I was so pissed. I was so pissed because I really wanted to take a picture and cut the thing up, put it in my freezer because the meat is good, but. I was like, you know what? If I smash this thing over the head, because the goshawk's not going to kill it, you know what I mean? And it was a super sloppy. She ended up calling the cops anyway, because the cops, they questioned me down the street or something.
Of course. And
I just said, oh, yeah, I was just flying my bird. She accidentally caught a goose, and I got her off of it. And the cop's like, yeah, she said you tackled the goose and was like rolling around the ground. I was like, well, yeah, I didn't want my bird to get hurt, and it was an accident, and this and that. Meanwhile, I freaking snuck up to it, and she caught it like it was not even moving, and it was this giant goose. Because I know there's like the lessers, and then I don't know the details, but I made the big mistake of posting the video and calling it a Canadian goose. Ooh. And people went freaking ballistic on me. They're like, it's not Canadian, man. It's Canada. Canadian. Everybody, there was like 50 comments. I was like the number one comment. And I was like, geez, guys, I'm sorry. Jeez. And, but yeah, it was huge. It was like, and it was such a sloppy flight. The bird like grabbed it by the butt, walked up, and then I tackled it. And in the video, you can see she's like holding it by like the primaries of the wing. And I'm like holding the thing down with all my strength. And then I ended up just chucking the lure, and she jumped on the lure, and I just let the thing go.
I bet that was great for her too.
For the bird?
Yeah. I'm sure she really loved that.
She loved it. Nothing happened to her. So that was the problem. She was like, oh, that was easy. I got a nice reward. And then she ended up, the last straw for her was she caught one. It's a whole story, but I couldn't get to her. There was a river. I sunk in up to my waist in mud, and she caught it like at least 100 feet up in the air, came to the ground with it, and I couldn't cross the river. I had to jump in my truck, drive around, jump over a fence, and she's just on the ground with it, had it by the face, and this thing, the whole time it took me to get there, the thing must have just been smashing her in the head with its wing the whole time.
They do that.
They're super tough. Yeah. And when I got there, she had blood coming out of her nose. I was just staring off into space, and this thing's just smashing her. And then I walked up and killed it quickly. And then I was trespassing. So there was some guy was like running across the field to me, and I just killed it, chucked it behind a bush, and picked the bird up, and she was just like bound to my glove, like upside down, staring off into space with blood in her mouth and her nose. And I was like thinking the bird is dead. And then this guy's like, trying to yell at me, and I was trying to explain to him what I was doing. And anyway, long story short, I got some anti-inflammatories in her, and I watched her all night, and she was completely fine. But yeah, after that, she would chase him, but she would never bind to another one after that. So she was that was a 1,300 gram goshawk. So
was that a Finnish?
It was a Keith Hicks bird. It was a Finnish albitus, and the subspecies in between those two mixes was a butyoides. So it was I think a albitus butyoides. So they're the largest subspecies. So she was a huge, giant goshawk. It's just so risky catching geese, man, because they can kill your bird. And then if the other ones turn around and help, because they'll do that, they could drown. They'll drown your bird in the water. They'll pummel it to death before you can get there. And the quick flights, like off the glove, like right there, it's easy. The bird just grabs it while they're fighting. You just jump in and help. and it's like cake. It's, it's good meat and stuff like that. But then the problem is what happens is they catch it out of sight, and then now your bird gets beaten to the ground. Even if they get them by the head, they still get beaten. So it's super risky to catch geese. So you need a golden eagle. So we gotta figure that out. Somebody's got to figure that out.
Yeah, they'll even like wing slap my border collie and they'll probably like body check her and stuff if she doesn't get them moving.
Oh, really?
That's what makes her get more excited about it. The only thing is that like border collies are so used to like working like a flock of sheep and having them go close that like when the geese fly away, like it's almost kind of like unfair to her because like sheep can't fly away. So like as soon as they fly up initially, she used to try to like chase them and run under the flock as they're flying down fields until she realized that just wasn't going to work.
Yeah, just getting shit on the whole time. They always drop a load.
They play crap about a pound a day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's probably the public's biggest problem with them, right? If they didn't shit that much, it'd be nice to have them around, I guess.
Yeah, because where I work, they don't care about ducks. Ducks aren't really a problem. It's just like the non-migratory, like giant geese. And also like some post office and places we work near, they're getting attacked by turkeys.
What the hell?
Do you deal with that too? Do you send?
Yeah, my border collie chases turkeys off.
Fish and Game, they take the turkeys extremely serious in most states. Do they get on your case about that, or you have special permits to do all that?
We have special permits to work in for all those birds, as far as just the turkeys and the geese.
Got it.
The turkey cases we have aren't super common, and the reason we use border collies is because they're using their eye. They're not really supposed to touch or make contact with the bird. We do a lot of work with like round pens of runner ducks, just to get them in the habit of knowing how to herd and move them and kind of treat them like sheep.
Oh, that's cool. That makes perfect sense, because if you used your other dog, what's that dog's name again? I love that dog.
Oh, if I use my dog Henry, my lurcher,
Henry.
You're like, here you go.
Henry would just be feathers everywhere and everything would be dead. That dog is awesome. Yeah, I had an experience one time. I was driving home from the gym when I was living in New Jersey, and I'm driving past the school, and I always drive slow, even when it's not even season, just out of habit, because there's a stream there, and I always check. And there's always a million geese there. And I saw this woman with a border collie, and she had a empty milk jug filled with like I don't know what it was. I have no idea. Rocks, gravel, or something. And yeah. She's shaking it over her head, and I'm like, what is this lady doing? Doing some kind of like crazy exercise. And then I see the car, and it was like a pest control car. And I guess the school has her go there in the morning at like 6 a.m. before school and get all the geese off the school property with the border collie. And then she shakes this thing over her head, and I guess it makes all kinds of noise and scares them away. So that was like my first experience seeing something like that, like right in town in Bergen County, New Jersey. Do you do that too? You have the shaker with you?
Nah, I don't really have any.
You might want to up your game and get a shaker.
You got to get the shaker, bro.
You could just get like the shake weight. You remember those?
Oh yeah. Aaron's got a couple of those.
Someone that's gonna scare a goose. Somebody's gonna be scared either way. They'll get out.
Oh yeah.
So Casey mentioned Henry, and you said that Henry's a lurcher. So for your average listener out there who may not know what a lurcher is, could you describe that?
I guess it used to just be like basically a cross of a sighthound with almost like any kind of dog. Like traditionally kind of like a herding dog, like a working dog, or mostly like a terrier. A lot of people probably would cross in a terrier, or just any variety of sighthounds cross within each other. And people kind of use them for, I guess they're just kind of fast and quiet. So basically kind of like just poaching. As far as just like getting rabbits, getting stuff running away from them. Like if my lurcher sees something running, his automatic response is to stop it from running.
Wow, that's super cool. So I didn't know that. I learned something new, that a lurcher is not actually like its own, or is it its own, like by the AKC? Is it its own breed, or is a lurcher basically?
I'd say it's a classification of a dog.
Yeah. Patterdales are kind of the same way too. I mean, patterdales are just like a variety of fell terriers.
Yeah, and I think the Marshall, I would disagree a little bit. I think the traditional lurcher is the collie sighthound.
Yeah, personally. In the UK, they probably would say it would just be like sighthound straight to border collie.
Aaron's got Google up right now,
and my my typing sound. It's
funny. But that makes perfect sense because I was listening to a something where I was reading it somewhere. The a feist is a similar thing to a lurcher then, right? Because a feist is not necessarily, they classify a feist. I think the AKC recognizes them as their own thing, but there's not really a set, if I remember correctly.
Small treeing type dog.
It's small, like the classification is a small treeing dog.
Yeah.
And it's basically like you can mix whatever you want into it. And it's like not
a rat. You can chuck a rat terrier in there.
Right. You could throw kind of other stuff into it and you still end up with what you would call a feist, but it's not like a one size fits all. Like if you say greyhound or you say dachshund or spaniel, you're looking for something specific, but with these, you're kind of like, you could get all different shapes and sizes, I would imagine, right?
Yeah. If the average person just asks me what Henry is, I'm going to reply and just say greyhound for the sake of just not having to explain myself too much as far as what a lurcher is. Because to the average person looking at him with his short coat, you just think he's like a small greyhound.
Right.
Right. My understanding is they started with in England that the common man couldn't have a greyhound or a whippet. So they would have to sneak and get sighthound blood and mix it with their collies and dilute the collie blood as much as they could to get something as fast as possible. And they kind of accidentally ended up with an extremely fast and intelligent dog.
Yeah. And I will say that my dog has at first I forgot and I thought it was like a quarter whippet and pit, but it's like almost a quarter border collie and pit. And I think a lot of that border collie smarts probably does help him out a little bit, but he's still kind of a doofus compared to other dogs.
Yeah, I don't think he's a doofus. I've seen that dog in action. He seems like super smart and like obedient, and he only does like what you tell him to do, which is great.
Yeah, but he handles like a Labrador, and I say like doofus, like hanging out.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
Yeah, and he's got the classic sighthound aloofness to him, to where he doesn't really want much to do with anybody.
Yeah, when he works, he just works. But at my house, he's just hanging out. Like even right now, he's on my lap, hanging on the couch.
It's awesome. Funny how after a couple weekends and he realized that I would serve him rats, he was like, oh, this guy's pretty cool. So when we were done, he would just be like leaning up against me, hanging out.
It's like, where's my rat?
Yeah, people don't realize is that like when he's going after a rat, he doesn't care about people so much that he's not going to pump the brakes. So like if you're standing in front of him being like, oh, cool, he's chasing a rat, like take a step to the side or you're going to see the rat really close.
I remember that one time he was after a rat and he was like full speed down the alley and he like, I don't know if I like kind of slid after the rat, like put his jaw down close to the ground.
He clipped his chin.
Yeah, he just like rubbed the skin off of the bottom of his jaw because he just like skinned it across the concrete to grab the rat.
Yeah, that's the one thing with that more greyhound blood, I guess, than some of these lurchers is that it gives them kind of thin skin. But it also helps them be really fast in the first place. But that's kind of, I guess, the risk and reward of ratting in an urban environment too, is having to deal with concrete.
Yeah, right. for any animal, yeah, the concrete is rough. So yeah, because the guys out west that kill coyotes, they don't seem to use greyhounds for that because they say that when it's cold and stuff, the ground is hard and the greyhound's feet will rip and the pads and stuff. They're not as tough as like some of those other stag hounds and stuff like that. So that makes sense what you're saying. I'm learning as we were talking.
Yeah, the concrete has definitely toughened his feet up a little bit more. But like the big thing is that like you have to have a fast dog who's going to be smart and know when to use their speed in that circumstance. Because like if he slides enough and fast enough, he's messing his stopper pads up.
Right.
To the point where if some people, I guess, if they're bringing like a whippet or something, will probably be better off like taping it.
Oh, got it. That makes sense.
So that's a perfect transition into ratting in general. That's how we all met. Was Marshall, if I'm not mistaken, you started the ratting club in DC?
Yeah. The one where we're now Renegade Ratters is in DC. There's also one in Georgetown too. There's two of them. But I guess ratting is kind of just ended up being like my mainstay for what I do a lot as far as like the working dogs. Because I have a lurcher right now. Before I had like a patterdale and a yaga co-owned. But just a lot of the terrier stuff I was into before, and just in general now, just ratting's kind of always been inconsistent.
So how did you get started ratting?
I saw the videos of the people in NYC. I don't know if you're in a group called Rats. I think it's Ratters Alley Trench Fed Society. and it's just this big group of guys who are both run by Richard Reynolds, who was an AKC judge, and he takes a lot of people with like patterdales, jacks, whatever kind of terrier you have, and will just run you out. And I had my patterdale at the time, and I lived in Baltimore in the city, and I did dig, but I wasn't like close to the spots I wanted to dig to, and I wanted to learn how to do it, so I just got out with them and figured it out.
So you actually went out with Richard Reynolds and his crew?
Yeah, I think it's a lot easier if you're trying to figure out something new to find someone else who is doing it, just to get like your perspective on it. Like, don't try to reinvent the wheel of some of these working dogs, because some of these dogs have a lot more go, and if you're not used to it or not expecting it, your dog's going to just kind of work past you.
What is that? What do you mean by that? Like, like in the heat of the hunt, I would say, for the rats, and you're in the alleys and stuff, you're saying the dog, what do you mean by work past you? Like, just not look for the rats or not listen? Like, what do you mean by that?
Get frenzied, go everywhere. Like, it helps to have a group to see what you're doing, because sometimes that person might have owned a dog like that before and been like, oh, you should just have him here or have him there. Especially like some of these people like who end up getting pats or yogs. And we have one person who got a yog from a rescue thinking it was a Yorkie mix, and that dog was very much not a Yorkie mix.
No.
Like, this dog's name is Fitz, and he's just all badass. Like, I think he's probably from like hog hunting lines, because he has those really long legs compared to other yogs. But he is just like a chainsaw on like those alleys in the fur. He's just running through, flushing everything, and like he's greedy. He's gonna hunt for himself if you don't like keep him close enough. That dog would probably be like 2 miles down the road hunting rats if you let him.
That's a good point.
So what do you think are, if you had to name, let's just say, I don't know, up to 10 different species of dogs that are good for ratting, what would you say those are?
10, that's pretty varied. I guess they're all helpful for all different skills and depending upon the spaces you're working. But I mean, from what I've seen lately, the 3 groups of dogs to make it easier is just like sighthounds, terriers, dachshunds. And those 3 types of dogs have been pretty handy. But any kind of like mid-sized to fast lurcher will help you out a lot. Any like 8 to 10 pound dog for just pushing rats out, whether it be a dachshund or like, I guess you can get dogs even smaller. I didn't know you could until I met you guys, honestly, as far as just having small dogs that could like take a bite and give a bite, if that makes sense.
So what was your take on dachshunds when you first saw us bring them out?
Well, the first one I saw was Harrison when he brought out Dickie when he was like really young, and I had no clue how actually old he was. I think he brought Dickie out when he was like 6 or 7
months. Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought it was like, I didn't have any other perspective, so I was like, oh, I guess this is a grown dachshund. Holy crap!
Well, he's a good size one. So he's there's adults that are smaller.
We kind of threw him in the deep end a little bit because I just didn't know his age. If I would have realized how young he was, like. We were getting him in cans working small rats. Like, we had a big rat under a step this dog was just fighting with. And you could see his muzzle and the rat's muzzle biting each other in the step. And I was like looking at Henry and I'm like, there's no way I can watch my 75-pound dog muzzle fight with a rat under a step. Like, it's just his mouth is too big.
Yeah. Yeah, Henry was great. I just like when I was there, it was so fun with Henry because anything that any of the terriers or the dachshunds missed, that even like that made a break for it, like across the alley, Henry was like, he was playing defense and he was just there, and anything that, oh my God. And he would snatch it up like super quick. It was so fun because it was like the dachshunds were under, like, especially my dog. Cause my dog's she's not really hunting. I mean, everything she does is predatory, right? But they're more fixated on their nose. So she's in under the stuff trying to find whatever's under there. And then stuff is flushing out, and before she can realize it's flushing out, the terriers are on it, like with their eyes, just freaking ripping it apart. And then anything that got past them, like through their legs or anything, Henry was right there. He would just, it was like a perfect team. It was great.
He's like an aggressive outfielder.
Oh yeah, he was just out there freaking covering everything, and he never missed either. I noticed that anything that got even remotely near him, he like never missed with that thin muzzle, man. He just snatch him up. It was so fun, dude. It was so much fun.
Yeah, but like it definitely is a partnership. Like, just him by himself, I'm getting a good amount of rats, but having this small dog to push to him and vice versa helps a lot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the varied team works very well. You know, when we go out with you and you've got him and RJ and Courtney got their patterdales, and then Bomani has his Toto dog.
Yeah, what's the breed of that dog?
Karen.
What is it? A cane, right?
Karen, not like the woman, but like a C, like a stone Karen.
Karen Terrier, yeah. Because I saw that dog and I didn't like, and that dog has a pretty good nose on it too. I was surprised. That thing it would find rats and it would Bomani would say, "Oh, we got rats in here," and I'm like, "It's just standing there." But he the way the dog would like almost point like a tight little spot or a box or a rat trap, and then sure enough, like without fail, we'd go over there and kick that thing, and like 3 rats would run out. It was
that dog can tree squirrels too. It's kind of crazy. Like when you come out and do the ratting stuff, for some of those off breeds, you get to kind of really see what they still have and what they can do, and you might even see some unicorns too. Like I don't know if other people who are really pushing Karens that hard, but that dog is seen a lot.
Oh yeah, that dog's a beast, man. That dog's a warrior. It's just in there killing everything.
It's a good dog. And Bomani loves ratting, doesn't he?
Yeah, I mean it's definitely a good mainstay for him as well. And he comes all the way down to DC to do it, and he has a space in Baltimore. And I've been ratting Baltimore like once or twice. I think the key thing is the safe spaces is just make sure it's safe.
But Baltimore is so sketch, man. It is such a sketch place.
Yeah, I mean, we any time you come out at night in a spot in a city to do something, you're going to see something weird. Like, I don't care what city you're in.
That's a great transition to this question. Tell us about some of the weird shit you've seen out ratting.
Oh, God. As of recent, the most recent weird thing was I was walking Henry to one spot. We were going down an alley, and this car was cutting down the alley, and a baseball whizzes between me and Henry and hits the car. And I just stopped for a second because I was really confused. And the guy came out, and he's like, "Hey, man, did I hit your dog?" And I'm like, "No, you didn't hit my dog. You just hit this car." He's like, "Okay, cool. I love dogs. I didn't want to hit your dog, but fuck that car." And he just got back in his car and just dipped out.
He just got out and threw a baseball at the other car and then drove away?
Yeah, he legit threw it too. Like,
why?
The guy cut him off.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So he just keeps baseballs in his car for road rage?
He throws like 4 or 5 of those. He feels better.
He's like a shot.
I mean, you're probably jaded at this point, but anytime I come out with you guys, it's like hard for me to get used to stepping over homeless people on the sidewalk and,
Yeah, so my word for that is abort mission. So if I see people with the terriers trying to get too close to like homeless people on the ground, because you can YouTube videos of homeless people sleeping under blankets and people pulling the blankets up in subways and rats just flying out of there.
Oh, dude.
Those people
oh my God. I just remember those kids trying to fight us. Remember from the club up on the balcony? They were up there drinking.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah, you flexed your arm at them and then they just ran away. It was great.
I just told them come down. I said come down. They're like, leave the rats alone. And I was like, okay. And then they started like saying they wanted to fight us and this, that. I was like, dude, just come down here.
We should have thrown rats up there to them if they love them so much. Yeah,
because so just to paint the picture, it's like picture like a downtown, like for us in Jersey, like Hoboken, where everybody would go and you would park your car and then go to all the bars and hop from bars to bars. It's picture that kind of an environment, but like in a big city. And basically like the bars are in the front, everybody's waiting online, like to get in the clubs. And we're like literally behind the clubs and the restaurants, just like under the dumpsters, in the boxes of like, where the old produce is from the restaurants. And there's just like hundreds of rats just like scurrying all, like even when we walked into the alley, I'm like, oh, I hope we see some, in my mind, it's my first time there. And then like, as we turn the corner, there's like, I see like 3 rats off in the distance under the streetlights, like freaking darting across the alley. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, this is going to be fun. And Ginger loves rats because we got them by our chickens. So I knew she'd have a good time. And it was so much fun. It's like
she's got a mean shake for her dog her size. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, she loves that's the Teddy Moritz line right there. They love to kill stuff, man. And yeah, she got bit good. Remember that? She got bit good. She grabbed the big rat. And I have the video of when it happened, and she grabbed it by the body, and it swung underneath her jaw and bit her like on the throat, like where her lymph node would be.
Yeah.
and that thing swelled up like a balloon with blood. Remember that?
Yeah, that was wild.
And we had to stop the hunt and try to figure out like what happened.
I thought it was allergic reaction to maybe like oil or something on the ground.
Yeah, I remember you said that.
Low on the ground, shaking them.
She was like, we went to like this turf field, like, you know, and we just have, I guess the ratting guys have like a circuit that they run. So they hit like this alley and they cut across, go to this alley, and they know the good spots and like the hot spots. And we went across like a field, and she's like rubbing her face on the ground. Like, you know, have you ever seen your dog try to rub their face and like, you know, crap in the woods or something? She's rubbing her face on this turf field and kept rubbing it. And then the light, cause it's so dark, you know, and then finally I see the light from the, you know, the lights illuminating the field. And I could see she had like all, like her whole side of her face was all coated in blood. And I went over and it's all swollen up like a balloon. And yeah, Marshall, you were saying, and Marshall pulls out, like, he's like a medic in the army. He pulls out like all this like saline and wipes, and he's rubbing her down, and we're trying to figure out where the puncture wound is. And, you know, and then, yeah, it ended up just going, the swelling just ended up going down, and she kept killing stuff the whole night.
Really quickly too. It went from like a softball to nothing in like minutes.
It was so weird. Yeah. Teddy, I asked Teddy about it, and she said sometimes when the rats bite them, sometimes when the dog like jerks their head, like while they're shaking, it pulls the skin away from like the muscle in the neck, and then like an air pocket will get in there and like puff up. And then you can she said you can kind of push. Sometimes you can like push it almost like you're popping a pimple or something. You can push the air out through the puncture wound from the rat, and then, you know, disinfect it and everything like that. But I mean, it was like the most pure fun you could ever have, like, in your life. If you run dogs, it was so much fun. I can't say it enough. We had so much fun that night. And I'm not, you know, listen, I'm not gonna, you know, this podcast, we love to, you know, talk about dachshunds because we're dachshund people. But I mean, you guys did have a record night when the dachshund showed up, didn't you? Right, Marshall?
When you have a good amount of small dogs the same size consistently pushing stuff, it does help.
Yeah. All right,
I'll give you a little bit.
No, that was a record night for DC, wasn't it? When we all had it was me with, did I have 2 dachshunds? I might have had 2.
Having Dickie there too helps also, because he knows all the little spots, because that was probably like his 5th or 6th night ratting as well. So he can know where all the nooks and crannies are as predictable. And it helps when you have smart dogs that kind of look at the right locations, and they'll get in those tight spaces. They're not really looking for you guys' approval. They're just getting over there trying to find rats.
That's a good point.
It was me with 1 or 2, Casey was 1, and Harrison was 1, and Shauna was there too with 1 as well, right?
Yeah, I think it was just the amount of small dogs we had just consistently.
Yeah, we had 4. We had at least 4 dachshunds, and I might have had 2 with me because I've done that a few times.
I think you may have had 2, and there was also a guy with a hockey stick. Can you explain that? Yeah, some guy, bro. We're walking through the alley, and we're going through the alley, and we're killing, rats, and the dogs are running, and Ginger's killing them, and like the patterdales are just tearing them apart, and Henry's like running them down. And then we come around this corner, and then like this dude just walks out of like an alley with a friggin', like Casey Jones from Ninja Turtles with a friggin' hockey stick over his shoulder. He's like, "What's up, guys? All right, what are we doing?" And I thought we were about to get like mugged or something. And they're like, "All right, you get over there and block." And this dude is like, he's like running around smacking rats with a hockey stick. I guess he just comes out for fun. Or can you explain that?
Yeah. So if you're not going to bring a dog, you have to participate in some way or another. And that is helping participation as far as just like blocking those drains. I always tell people, for the most part, like, you can't really smack the rats with a hockey stick if the dogs are around.
Yes.
But it's more so kind of just blocking and being different places. So those people also help shake trash cans. Or if you want to do like a little trophy hunt, sometimes we'll get a bunch of the rats in a trash bag in a backpack and line them up for a picture, because people have fun with that.
Yeah.
In the New York group, I think they actually try to weigh out the biggest rat.
That's pretty cool.
With a little those little fishing weight things.
Oh, got it. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I know, but the problem is that when Henry gets his jaws on them, and Bomani's dog, that Cane Terrier, the guts splat out of them because their jaws are so strong when they snatch them and shake them. There's like no weight left after that. Like the intestines are hanging out, and they're just totally like dismembered.
When it comes to a big group of new dogs, I feel like those 2 dogs, their competition level gets really high, just because they see the more dogs there and they're just like, crap, we got to get to these first.
Yeah.
So like for the most part, I feel like if it's just like 4 or 5 dogs, they're not doing that. They're just like snatching and moving.
So that day that I was there, you noticed that your dog was maybe trying to get to rats a little bit quicker than he normally does, just because there was so many dogs on the ground.
Yeah, sometimes it definitely like is an advantage of having more. Sometimes it can be a pain in the butt, depending upon how many like new people you have or certain types of dogs. But like if we just had like instead of dachshunds, if it was like all lurchers and one dachshund, that wouldn't have been as fun.
Right.
Yeah, the variety makes it pretty neat. It's the spice of life, right, Casey?
That's right. Keep it spicy around here. No,
So
it was cool.
You had mentioned Ginger's little injury, which turned out to really be nothing. Dogs regularly will get a rat bite. I mean, how could you blame the rat, right? We talked about Henry getting the bottom of his jaw scuffed up when he slid across the concrete after a rat. What kind of injuries have you seen over the years, Marshall?
Really just for the most part, like either freak little injuries that could happen anywhere or these little superficial rat bites. I've heard from other people on farms and stuff of a lot more dogs off leash that if a rat is biting near like a Jack Russell Swing's eye and another terrier will pull the rat, they can end up hurting or damaging the eye. But I've never seen that personally. I've seen that pretty close to happening. But as long as you have pretty good control of your dogs, you know where you are, everything's pretty safe. We always have a med kit on us, but for the most part, our dogs have a bit of a size advantage over the rat. It's more about the environment and what the things we're like where we're at is not the woods. Like
I think your average person would assume that rat bites would cause nasty infections.
Yeah, it's like a hole punch. So basically, kind of a hole punch bite. And I always use antibiotic shampoo after my hunts just to clean and wash my dogs off. But I've never really had any issues for the most part from rat bites of dogs, me personally.
It's funny with hawks, if they get bit real bad by a squirrel or something, they can get like a really nasty infection. But I have never seen a dog get any kind of meaningful infection from a rat bite.
Nah, not really at all ever. It's a dry bite. I don't even think they can carry rabies, to be honest.
Yeah, I think they're too small.
They can just carry Black Plague. That's it.
Yeah, that's the fleas, not the rat. Yeah, we didn't even talk about the fleas.
I didn't see any of that. All I know is that Ginger was disgusting when I got back to Harrison's house.
That is the one disadvantage I see with those dachshunds is that low hair on that belly, man.
Dude, it is. They stink. They're covered in dumpster juice, rat guts.
It was vile, man.
You encounter some disgusting stuff out there. Which, Marshall, what's the most disgusting thing you've seen while out ratting in the alleys?
My friend's Yog puppy one time fetched him a sanitary pad that may have been used.
Oh, that's disgusting.
That may have happened.
Oh, that's so nasty. Didn't you guys? Someone was telling me while we were there. Didn't you guys like find people in a car like?
Yeah,
we saw it. Yeah,
Omani one time ran around and saw some people getting freaky in a car.
I was there, dude.
Oh, you were there too? Yeah.
Yeah, I was there.
Aaron was just watching from the shadows.
Yeah, I just Aaron's like, don't we're in an alley. I found a little shadow, and
he's like, I think there's some rats over here. Everybody keep going. I'm gonna go check it out. Just like sitting on a dumpster, just like watching.
Yeah, man.
I promise.
That's hilarious.
Guilty as charged.
Yeah, man. I mean, there was a
little freak.
Aaron Kincaid, the kinkiest Kincaid there is. No, but like on that same note, I just I know our good friend that we mention on every episode, but he when he was down there, I mean the girls at the club, when they see the little dogs, they get all excited. Everyone's talking, everyone's hanging out. Like I mean that didn't happen when we were there really, but
yeah, they want to pet. People want to pet the dogs, and they'll say like, "Can I pet the dog?" And I just say, "No, she bites."
There are people that know the dogs by name and
they don't even care. Yeah, they're celebrities out there.
That's so cool.
The last time I went ratting, I decided to take advantage of my ratting privilege at some of these bars to see if I can get free drinks, and it worked.
Really?
It worked. My friend Caleb is my witness. I have my friend Caleb who comes out, who has this kind of newer breed. It's called an Old Boston Bulldog. And like these
doesn't sound new to me. Sounds old.
Yes.
Well, newer, I guess, to like hunting and working. I've never really seen him before in like the hunting capacity, but he works his little dogs, and they're kind of just like a little jacked up, like Boston's basically like 30 ish pounds to like 25 pounds. And his one dog, Louie, he uses it to tree and track game as well as come ratting with us. And that dog will just headbutt a trash can and kill a rat. he just doesn't care. He would probably run through a wall and kill a rat if he could.
And then have a asthma attack and die.
Yeah.
They have short faces on them. Sounds like it would have a short
The one
face.
she has have a pretty long muzzle to where it kind of just like from a glance you would just think it's like the shadow of like a pit or something like that.
Yeah, my brother has what's that breed that all like the rappers get? And they're like 20 grand.
Frenchies?
Yeah, my brother has a Frenchie, but like slightly cheaper, like $5,000. Don't ask me why I got it. And the thing is like having heart attacks like constantly. He's always at the vet, and like if he he's in California now, so when he walks and it's like hot, like the thing he has to like his wife is always sending videos to our group chat of him like having to walk the whole trail with the thing in his arms because it's going to stroke out and die.
It's pathetic.
I'm like, why'd you get that thing? I mean, they're cute and everything, but like, why'd you get it? You know?
America said so. That's my favorite dog in America. It skipped past the lab and everything else, and now it's Frenchies.
Yeah, people love them, and they're not cheap either. They'll steal them too.
Yeah, I was just going to say somebody was walking Lady Gaga's and somebody jumped out and stole them.
Somebody jumped out and shot that walker and took them.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Oh, my gosh.
Jumped out and said, you know what? I'm just going to shoot you. And you shot him and took the 2 dogs.
And the dude lived, I think, right?
I'm not sure, but I mean, those dogs probably like, what, 10, 20K? Like,
at least, yeah.
And they said the guy probably didn't even know it was Lady Gaga's dogs because, you know, that would be, if you were trying to commit a crime, that might be smart because you're like, of course, she's going to pay a ransom for these dogs.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But I don't think they even knew.
If I did it, I'd be like, you got to let me come on stage at your next concert or the dog gets it.
Is that a big dream of yours, Casey, to be on stage with Lady Gaga?
You could fly a golf clock across the stage.
You never know. Yeah, my guys could just fly into a light and die with my luck.
Casey was born this way.
Yeah.
So I got a little off track there with the Lady Gaga talk.
Yeah. The one thing I wanted to ask you guys is, do you think the ratting stuff with the dachshunds?
We asked the questions here, Marshall.
We will ask the questions.
No, go ahead.
For the dachshunds, do you think the ratting is a good precursor for what you guys did? Like if someone had a younger dog and they wanted to get ready with what you're doing, do you think working the rats would be a good startup before going to the rabbits, or no difference?
I think that it would help with the prey drive and the desire to get their teeth on things. I think if you start too early and the dog is not as hard, because within every breed, right, there's all different hardness levels, and some are harder than others. And if you have a more timid dog and you throw it in the dumpster with like 6 rats and it starts getting bit, like I think it might just be like, all right, this is ridiculous. I'm not doing this.
No, that's the deep end. Yeah.
But if you get a dog that's gamey, like I got the dog tomorrow when we go to kill groundhogs, I'm bringing Franny, and Franny's like 5 pounds, and she's a little psychopath. And I think if she got her teeth on some rats, it would really send her over the edge into just full psycho mode.
I agree. I think it's early on. I let the dogs kill real small rats and mice. Nothing that could seriously bite them back to discourage them from wanting to sink their teeth into fur. But yeah, I think it's good for them. They're not one trick ponies. They're capable of being a ratter and a rabbit tracker. So you can introduce them to killing small rats and mice early on. And then eventually you'll have a dog that is interested in ratting and tracking rabbits. Because ultimately they're trying to kill the rabbit. I mean, they're not. We all know they're very seldom are they ever going to catch a rabbit. You know, maybe 1 out of hundreds.
Yeah.
That's probably being generous. And they got to get lucky when that happens. But they're still trying to. That's their goal. That's why they're chasing it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think the ratting was great. I think anything like that. I think ratting, treeing squirrels, obviously the rabbits is like what we really, have them for. But I don't think it can hurt. You know what I mean? I mean, they love it. They love killing everything. I mean, every time my dog sees me with a gas can, she starts freaking out because she thinks I'm going to light some rat holes on fire by my chicken coop, and she goes nuts. Like she can't, like even putting my headlamp on at night at my house, she goes she goes crazy trying to, to come with me outside because she thinks we're going to kill rats.
Yeah, if you do that when you go ratting into DC, I'd recommend you do that very fast and then get in your car and leave. You're gonna light some holes.
Yeah, what I do is I only light one hole on fire. So what I do is I dump a little gas in like 6 of the holes, or as many holes as I can find, and then I leave it for like 5 minutes, and then I light one hole on fire, and the fumes inside the hole, it's like a percussion grenade. It goes douche, and it's like it's like comes out of the ground, and all the leaves like goes up in the air.
You're gonna blow your yard up, dude.
It's for my neighbors probably think I'm nuts. It's so awesome. And then Ginger, you just see her, she's staring at the flames coming out of the holes, and she's just like staring at the holes waiting. And I may or may not have lit a rat on fire and it ran across my yard. I
hope you got that on video.
I sure did, and I haven't posted it because I don't want to go to jail.
Oh my god! I need to see that.
Ginger's trying to grab it while it's running on fire. But rats are vermin. You know what I mean? So I don't. It wasn't my intention to light it on fire.
Yeah, I'm sure you didn't mean to. It just happened when you were trying to control the vermin.
No, I really didn't want to. Because I like it better when they try to make a break for it, and Ginger grabs them. I actually have a video on YouTube, and it's like not the best. And next time I do it, I think I'll try to make a better video. But I had a goshawk on hack, and it was back in my property. I live in a very wooded area, so it's in the woods somewhere. God knows where. I have no idea. And my wife and my son were out there, and we're like feeding the chickens and stuff. And then we have the hose out because we're giving water to the chickens and the other animals. And I just see, I see all these holes like everywhere, all over the chicken coop, everywhere. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to stick this in the hole. And I just let it run for like 20 minutes. And all of a sudden, rats started just coming out of the holes, like one after another, like little ones, big ones. And Ginger's just grabbing them and killing them. And even my wife thought it was fun. And she's like, get him, get him. And Ginger's grabbing them. And then we're screaming and yelling. And my hawk comes out of the woods because it hears all the commotion. And it thinks it's like, there's feeding time. So it comes out of the woods out of nowhere. And it starts catching rats and grabbing rats. So I got the dog killing rats. I got the bird killing rats. And like a lot of them got away, which was annoying. Because they just, if the dog doesn't grab them, like right when she sees them, and there's so many of them, it's like impossible. You need like 10 dogs. But I'm getting better with the food in my chicken coop now. I get it up off the ground and I only feed them what they're going to eat. So it's less of an issue, but it's a huge problem. I drilled holes. I have a concrete slab under my goshawk mew, and there's tunnels going in and out of the concrete slab. So I had enough one day, and I put the goshawk in the weathering area, and I got I'm a plumber. So I got my Hilti hammer drill, and I drilled 1-inch holes, like 6 of them in the concrete slab, and dumped like 5 gallons of gasoline in each hole. And then I ran it out the door into the yard and I lit it on fire. And that thing sounded like a bomb went off. And whatever's in there is all dead now. It's got to be dead. There's no way it's not dead. I freaking hate rats, man. Can't stand them. Kill them all.
They all got to die, right? But I really like rats. I think they're fascinating. I'm not going to let them live at my house.
Marshall, don't trust this guy. Next time he comes ratting, he's going to let some escape.
Oh, he's caught some for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was, you were up there when I was hand catching them, right, Casey?
Oh my God. It was so funny. That video was so funny.
Oh yeah. That's a classic video.
Yeah.
Dude, that video is insane, actually. Marshall, you know what one we're talking about?
Yeah, the one where you pass like a rat to Courtney and he moved his arm really fast and just blocking it to try to smack me with a live rat.
Yeah. But if you watch the video, if you pay attention, because Casey has that crazy ass 360 camera, it's like I'm catching a rat by the tail and I'm trying to hand it to Courtney because he was trying to learn how to handle them while they're alive. So I'm trying to hand it to him. He grabs it and then he freaks out and he like swings it around at your face. You're like batting it away. Meanwhile, Henry's killing rats. Off on the side, you can see dachshunds killing rats. It's absolutely insane.
It was so, dude. Those suckers, they climb up their body.
They were killing them for the fence. That was the crazy part.
Yeah.
We just the little dogs got into this fenced in area where the people can't really go, and we just kind of have to watch there and helplessly stand by as the dogs are just annihilating rats out of our reach.
Yeah, it's those. They'll go anywhere. Those rats, man. It's like They're climbing up walls. They're sitting on like
climbing up wires,
a window ledge,
the leg.
like your leg. Yeah, they're anywhere to get away. Disgusting.
Yeah, whenever you go ratting, you have to tape up your pant legs if you don't want rats.
With that, because like I tell people in those little narrow small alleys, let your dog do the work and just stand back, because like if you're in the mix helping them, those rats are going to take advantage of you because you're the tallest tree in that alley.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Who got
Marshall,
bit?
Have you ever been bit by a rat?
Good, yeah.
I have not. I have not been bit. But Monty's been bit. I have not been bit.
I got bit once. It sketched me out.
But never wild ones.
It really sketched me out when a wild rat bit me.
That's so gross, man.
Marshall, have you read Tales of a Rat Hunting Man?
I have not, but I've been recommended to read that a couple times.
Damn, dude, you are a phony ass rat hunter if you haven't read Tales of a Rat Hunting Man.
I'm kind of like the culture of rat hunters, to be honest. So
explain that.
Well, I guess a culture vulture is someone who's just kind of hanging out in the scene, who's not really about it. I'm sure probably for Falconer there's people like that.
Oh yeah, you would rather be digging, wouldn't you?
Yeah,
I would say ratting's my mainstay, but I do like digging a lot. And honestly,
you need that bumper sticker. I'd rather be digging.
It put the what the dachshunds could do in perspective for me, which was seeing the digging and earthwork from them, and seeing the falconry from them too. Seeing how they have to range out and seeing how they have to work with the bird. So that was pretty cool in comparison. But
yeah, so you came down here for a wedding and you went out with me when my goshawk was still fairly fresh. And it was hot as hell. Was it probably like 90 degrees?
It was so warm then. Yeah, we got
goshawk weather.
Yeah.
That was the first time I've ever actually seen falconry as far as just like hunting and not like in like a Renaissance festival where there's just some like dude chilling and be like, here's a bird. Like,
yeah.
This was great to see the dogs go out and work that. And then another comparison I had to see like Harrison's freaking goshawk, who was more interested in potentially killing me and my dog than he was like it definitely like when it got in the ground and got off the scroll and ran towards my dog, me and my dog were just about to dip.
Yeah. That's a big
out there
bird.
with Henry.
No, I had my wife's little like pit Carolina dog mix Xena, and I trust her more of livestock and birds. So I just figure, you know what, it might as well just have fun with you. So I brought her out because she's like 20 or 30 pounds. So I figure she'd be less intimidating for the bird too, possibly.
So you have a Carolina dog mix?
Yep.
That's funny. We were mentioning those when we were talking to Tyler.
Are those like they're like half wild?
Yeah. The thing is with these primitive dogs in the ratting and hunting stuff is that like they'll do it and they'll have fun. But they're going to stop whenever it's convenient for them to stop. It's not kind of like that relentless prey drive that like these dachshunds and terriers have. Like my dog Xena will probably come out and kill like 5 or 10 rats and just be like, you know what? I'm just going for a walk now. And it's not like because she's scared of them or anything. It's just that because she just doesn't care about killing a ton of rats. Like if they're in my backyard, like they're done. But like outside of there, like it's just not how her prey drive works.
There's something that I wish that I guess not wish I wanted to bring up, but excuse me while I get my words right. The rat poison. When we were talking about injuries earlier, I meant to mention the rat poison. To your average person, they might be sketched out by the rat poison and the presence of it in ratting situations. What can you tell us about your experience with that?
So if you see poison that is out and you physically can see like green like poison, that is illegal. If you see that, you should contact like a business improvement district or contact your neighbor or take a picture of it and show it to like a representative in your city. But for the most part, for those bait boxes, there is a container that holds in the poison. And if some rats have ingested poison, our dogs care about killing them and dropping them. Like if you're bringing a young dog out and you're letting him just literally grab and inhale rats from the city, that is irresponsible. And your dog will get sick and injured from that. But for the most part of our dogs, they just want to stick and move.
Yeah.
I've never seen a dog that wants to eat the rats. Usually they're grabbing it, killing it, and they're on to the next. Maybe if they grabbed one in the backyard and they were just fenced in and they were out there all day, they might start to eat on it. I
see a lot more like small rat decapitations when the dachshunds come out with us. So I'm guessing they're like chomping their heads off and just gulping it and dropping it, which I guess is like somewhat safe because there's probably no poison in the rat's head. more than the stomach content.
Yeah. As long as the dogs are not eating a rat that has eaten rat poison, they're going to be fine.
Yeah, I would say the more thing I kind of worry about is like the leptospirosis factor. But there are vaccines for most strains of leptospirosis.
The hell's that?
And leptospirosis is a disease that a dog can get from rat urine being on the ground and getting on a cut or a bite. And most people are vaccinating against leptospirosis. And
your dogs are hopefully vaccinated for it, Casey.
Say again?
Yeah, most dogs are vaccinated against lepto. You can get that vaccine from the Tractor Supply as well. I'm trying to remember which number that is, but it's included in a lot of them.
Yeah, I should probably do that, I guess.
Yeah, yours probably already are, Casey, to be honest with you. Yeah, they probably are.
They just got magically well,
it's
vaccinated.
Probably in a combo vaccine that they get.
Tractor Supply on the combo ones.
Yeah, that's what I did. I mean, all these people go to the vet and they spend like $500 to get a shot. I go to Tractor Supply, you buy the little, it's like so easy. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like the shots and it's like $20 each. You just buy it, rip it open, follow the directions, pull it out of the thing, stick it in your dog, boom, you're done.
Yeah, it's a cheat code that no one realizes. The only thing you need the vet for is the rabies shot.
Yeah, which I did.
Yeah, when you have a bunch of dogs like many of us have, it's will break the bank if you take every single one of them to the vet for every little thing.
Yeah, it gets ridiculous. That's like Teddy. I mean, Teddy Moritz, she's like so good about that stuff. Like she'll talk you through it. Like she, because she's got a ton of dachshunds. She's got a bunch that she goes through. She works them constantly. So there's injuries. So she's got all like Marshall was saying, all these cheat codes to like not spend thousands of dollars at the vet and still make sure your dog is okay. Is like, you don't necessarily have to go straight to the vet unless it's something.
Yeah, I tell people too for like the pad stuff. Like I buy a large jar of hoof heal, which is stuff that's used for like healing cracks in like hooves on horses, and it works perfectly good for paw pads.
Perfect. Yeah. See, you got to think outside the box because you're gonna go broke going to the vet.
Amen. A lot of times those vets, man, a lot of awesome vets out there. I personally know some awesome vets, but actually, Marshall, your dad is a vet, isn't he?
Yeah, he's okay.
But a lot of those vets, man, they'll shake you down. They'll get you. You got to be careful. Be on your toes when dealing with vets.
They're like, you want your dog to die a horrible death? Well, then sign this piece of paper.
They will guilt trip you.
They're like, let's chop your dog's balls off or it will die.
Yeah. I went to the vet, a guy local because we just moved, and I brought the dog in. I brought Ginger in to get an X-ray to figure out how many puppies she had when we bred her. And, I told her she's a working dachshund and stuff like that. And he like got all weird about it. Like he was disappointed. I'm like, all right, bro, fuck you. Okay. Like that's what they're for, dude. It was really weird. Like the whole vibe, like he was asking questions about the dog and what her mannerisms are, and I said she's a freaking she's a 100% working dachshund, like that's all she does. And he got all weird, and the vet tech and him like looked at each other. I'm like, all right, never coming here again.
Looking at you,
yeah. So I'm never coming here again.
I like the country vets that just don't give a fuck.
That's what I thought he was, but
yep. That can be getting. Sometimes the techs are just not cool. Now, sometimes the veterinarian's really awesome, and the techs are just really judgy.
Yeah,
I was a vet tech. I was a vet tech for like
me too.
Almost a year. Yeah, it was a fun job, except for the weird atmosphere behind the scenes. My boss was like this. He was great.
Because this cat behind me.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Like, why do you have a cat in your possession? Like, why is that thing even in your house?
Leg, like you see all the hair coming off him and stuff.
We just found her out on the street. She was like covered with dreadlocks, so we shaved her down.
Yeah,
took her to the vet and got her shaved down. Cats in the house are fine.
Yeah, I think
as long as they're in the house.
Just let Henry in there for a couple minutes.
Oh yeah,
he'll take care of your problem. And that's another good point, because Henry can kill pretty much anything, but like he leaves the little dogs alone. Like he has no real interest in the little dogs. It's
real
cool.
Recognizes real.
Yeah,
he doesn't have dog aggression like that. And I would like to say, like, for the most part, a lot of the sight hounds I've met haven't had like serious dog aggression. Like I have a 4-pound poodle that I train for a friend that comes over sometimes, and they're totally fine with each other. They can sit in the couch with each other. He won't even step on them.
That's good, because I'm bringing a little tiny dog tomorrow when we go getting those groundhogs, those whistle pigs. And I'm a little nervous because Franny, Ginger's puppy, is super tiny, so I don't know if it might trigger him. Because one bite and Franny's done for. Yeah, she's dead.
Yeah, I think with those dachshunds, they do a lot of crazy sticking and moving. I think Dickie got clipped maybe once, and it was just because he got pissed and flew in there, and he just does not like groundhogs. That dog gets very angry at groundhogs.
Who, Henry?
No, Dickie. Like
Dickie, yeah.
He got into this hole where there was like a bunch of roots, and that groundhog was stuck back there and tried to like hole puncture his ear.
Oh my God. Yeah, groundhog can mess a dog up big time.
Before we move on from the cats, let's talk about some really ineffective ways to control rats, Marshall.
I guess you kind of could say poison to a certain extent, because we're talking about poison, and I'm telling you that like it's kind of something we're around and it doesn't affect us. So that might be a variable as well. Cats themselves, one in your hand is probably not the best option for rats. I've seen some cats get their butts really and actually look like that after an encounter for a rat.
Yeah, for anyone listening, this cat is shaved. She's like got a lion cut. She's got like a little puff tail and fur on the head.
Yeah, I think
and the legs.
It's so gross. It's just spreading. It's just spewing toxoplasmosis all over your house, dude.
Toxoplasmosis is also like something that's also a big issue with cats outside. But you said, like I said, inside, you're good to go. But a lot of places that we go ratting near are old TNR places, which is TNR is trap, neuter, release. And
that's so stupid. Oh my God.
Yeah,
so
I agree with you. It's a very like supposed that cats will pack up, which isn't really how cats work, and stay in a colony once they're fixed and keep other cats out. But the issue is that with those feeders, they're just putting bowls of food out, and there's no way to predict what's eating that cat food.
Yeah.
I just have a hard time imagining a cat taking on a rat, like a real deal rat, maybe a little rat pup or a mouse. Well, I just really can't imagine a cat handling a big, 2-pound rat.
I had the rats you caught me, so I was trying to make some, I guess people call them wildlings sometimes, but like I was trying to get these wild rats that Aaron gave me that he caught and cross them with domestic rats. And the science experiment didn't necessarily work.
I was going to say, you have a lab coat on during all this?
3 of them got out, and our TNR cat we had in the warehouse decided to try and grab one, and he pounced on it, and it bit his wrist, and like he just flipped in the air like that rat did a judo move to him. Rat just all out.
You heard it here first, folks. Cats are useless.
Cats are nice little pets in your house. That's about it.
If you let them out of your house, all bets are off.
They're on the menu.
They're on the menu, unofficially, allegedly.
Allegedly. That's what people are saying.
Yeah.
It's a sporting chance rumor.
It's ridiculous because if I don't fill out the correct, if I don't check the right box on my falconry permit, I got the feds or the Fish and Game showing up at my house questioning me or threatening me. But my neighbor can take their cat and just cut it loose in the neighborhood to just kill everything indiscriminately, and there's zero consequences for it. Zero consequences. It's ridiculous. It's so ridiculous.
It's socially acceptable.
Yeah. Well, I don't think people realize also those cats are probably thinking like 5 miles of that space near their house is theirs. So
yeah, for sure.
So Marshall, if somebody wanted to get into ratting, because Casey was saying this earlier, and I concur, I think ratting is just like one of the most fun sporting activities that you can do with your dog. If you got a terrier, you got a sight hound, you got a lurcher, you've got a dachshund, you can do ratting. Casey was saying earlier he was ratting around his chickens. Anywhere you have poultry, you'll find rats more than likely.
Yeah.
The cities.
Yes.
Go ahead. What'd you say, Marshall?
Anywhere in the U.S., basically. Maybe not Alaska. But
I will say this is there's Bomani sends this to me, and for anyone listening, Bomani is one of the main ratting characters in DC. He sends me this article, and he's like, "Looks like Charlotte's moved up on the rat chart." And like Orkin will put out this thing that says the rattiest cities in America. I have not found concentrations of rats in Charlotte. I think the southern cities are too new and clean for rats to really flourish there. I think like,
they're there. They're there. They're everywhere, bro.
They're everywhere. But you know, those alleys in DC, when you walk down them and you look down the alley, you'll see a dozen rats just darting back and forth.
Oh, the first thing you said, Casey, was hundreds. And you're right. When you first go down those alleys, like you're seeing hundreds of rats, and that's not
crazy. No, it's like the dogs go underneath like one pile of boxes, and like 30 rats will just like stream out like from a movie, like from Titanic when the water, remember, and all the rats are running down the hallway. It's pretty much just like that. It's insane. The dogs are just tearing them apart. It's like, oh my God, it's so fun.
So yeah, I think the older Northeast cities have a lot of rats. I suspect like Charleston, South Carolina. I'm sure New Orleans probably has a bunch.
Oh, New Orleans for sure. New Orleans, like in the swamps and stuff, because like just like DC, that's in a swamp.
Yeah, anywhere with water. That's, you bring up a good point. Anywhere with water. So even out in the wild, like if you go to like a canal or a creek bank or something in town, there's going to be little holes where rats are living for sure.
Yeah, I guess if I lived in those places and I had a terrier, I might be a little more apprehensive about going ratting, just because if I was doing like earthwork there, if I was going towards like going for nutria or raccoon, I don't want to have to dig for a rat.
Yeah, if you have the luxury of killing 30 or 40 in one night. I mean, we weren't even there all night. I thought we were going to be out till like 5 a.m. We were only out for like, what, 2.5, 3 hours? Not even 3 hours.
Oh, if we were out till 5 a.m., we'd see what kind of dogs we have by that point, because it could be endurance by that point. Like, it's just, the rats aren't hard 101 for a dog to do, but like when you're talking about the hundreds mark and we're still moving, like we're clearing a lot of like walking on top of consistently just getting on game.
Yeah, I started picking Ginger up when we would switch from alleys and walk down blocks because I wanted to save her energy. See that? It's tactics right there.
That's smart. That's something you can do with a little dog.
Yeah, I picked her up to save her little strength.
Getting covered with alley juice.
Oh yeah, I held her away from my body. It was vile, man. It really was vile.
That's disgusting.
And Marshall, question. So now, like, some of these guys, I know some of the guys that were there, they had their dogs on leashes. Henry was off leash. Ginger was off leash. I would not have my dog Franny off leash. She's from a line of, anyway, it's a long story, but she's from a line that I was warned about, and we bred to it contractually. And she's just, I mean, all she wants to do, she's like Ginger's prey drive. Franny's like ×5. Like she doesn't stop, and it's hard to control her. So I really got to keep my eyes on her because she just wants to go. But like, so is that just like basically like the control level that the handler has on their dog is why they have the leash, or like,
that's handler discretion as well as control. I mean, everyone has their dog differently, and because there's so freaking many rats in the city, even if your dog is on the leash, there's still a pretty good chance your dog's probably going to get a rat.
Right. Oh yeah. We saw that with the two guys with their with their two patterdales. I mean, those dogs cleaned up and they were on their leash. And I mean, we would just take the dogs and just drop 2 dogs in a dumpster and start pulling bags out, and there'd be like 20 rats in there, and the dogs would just grab one, shake it, grab another one, shake it. It was like, I mean, the dogs got to love it. You know what I mean? Like, they have to love that. It's like, you're doing your dog a service by bringing them down there and letting them just take out all their instinctual prey drive on these disgusting rats.
Well, I'll see people that will post in DC and stuff, little like Jack Russells or like little Welsh Terriers or any kind of little small terrier breed, and just be like, dog has too much energy, I don't have an outlet. And I'm thinking, like, you're like a mile from where I'm ratting, dude. You got plenty of outlet.
Oh yeah, kill some rats.
Yeah, so if you live near a city, see if you can find some ratting spots if you've got a sporting breed. If you know somebody that has a farm, farms always have rats.
You got to work for them though. You got to run. You got to either use you got to use gasoline like I do, or you got to use water. Because how else you get them out? Or you're digging with a shovel. Smoke? Oh, okay, that's good.
This dairy farm up the road from me, I asked him if I can rat there, and he said, yeah. I haven't gotten off my ass and done it yet, though, because he wants to bring his whole family to watch, and I'm just,
So Marshall, so then what are you doing? You're getting smoke bombs on like Amazon or something?
I've actually gotten smoke bombs from Home Depot before and been pretty successful with those. I know people who use bee smokers and modify those to where they can kind of put them down like a hole and smoke a lot more of the rats out. Dry ice is probably the most preferred method in the city as far as choking them out. And I put like hot water on dry ice through holes and have them shoot out.
Nice. I use one of those little black flag insect foggers, put vegetable oil in it instead of poison, and that'll smoke. But what I was getting at before Casey interrupted me was the farmer was telling me he'll bring a forklift and he'll lift up the big concrete feed troughs, and he's like hundreds of rats will just run out when he does that.
Oh, dude, come on, you gotta go.
I can't. What good's it going to be with me by myself? I would need a crew of people.
You have like 6 dogs.
Fair enough.
And you have that little what is that other dog you have?
Little Whippet.
You got that Whippet. I'm sure he'd love to tear up some rats.
Yeah, I need to do it.
The best sighthound for ratting is Whippets, from what I've heard from people.
Yeah, they're perfect. They're small. They got that tiny little. They got that snout on them.
I need to bring him up to get some obedience from you, Marshall, because I am not a dog trainer. He is so fucking wild.
The sighthounds are tough sometimes too, because they'll just be like so goofy and friendly with you, and then you catch them on something, and they'll take it so damn seriously for the next like minute or two, and then be chill about it. But like it goes from "you're my best friend" to "fuck, it's the end of the world." You just said no.
Yeah, he is so wild, dude. And so fast. They've got to be the fastest dog on a sprint in the world, would be my guess. A Whippet.
Probably that, and like maybe like a track bred greyhound. Maybe those hot blooded, like smaller 50.
I think on a sprint, the Whippet, long range for sure, greyhound is going to surpass them. But just a quick, 10, 20 yards, which would be about all you need for a rat. Is if you don't get the rat that quick, you're not getting it.
Yeah, I'm stuck on sizes for what I want for a lurcher consistently from this point. Like trying to think if I should breed Henry to a smaller or bigger dog, because like I always heard that like the Whippet sized dogs would be better for ratting, but I feel like for Henry's size, he carries himself well enough and stays out of the way well enough to where it's not a pain in the butt for him being as big as he is.
Yeah, he's a pretty big dog.
Yeah, I don't think he could really do much better than what he does. I mean, he cleans up, Yeah,
he really does. I think that night he had to kill the most out of all the dogs.
He's good at also just watching the dogs as they flush stuff. Like RJ, his patterdale Pebbles, if she's off leash, like they're like neck and neck walking with each other, because he knows that they're going to push stuff out, and she knows that she can steal from him. Under his chin, and like he's pretty nice about it for a little bit. But if you want to hang on to the rat, well, he has the rat. He'll take you on a little bit of a wild ride if you're a really small dog.
That's fun. Yeah, we saw that a couple times when I was there.
Yeah, he would take rats from the smaller dogs.
It was funny. They'd grab rats at the same time, and like he'd be pulling the other dog while he's got the rat. It was fun. It was just pure fun for those dogs.
All right, can you guys think of anything that we didn't cover? I could talk ratting all day.
Oh, I heard the guy in New York, because we talked about it in the beginning of the episode. I heard, what's the story with that guy? I heard some different things about him.
Which person in New York are you talking about?
Richard Reynolds, probably.
Yeah, Richard Reynolds.
Yeah, Richard has Bedlington Terriers, and Bedlington Terriers are like the AKC version. They kind of look like sheep, like little lambs, like these little long terriers with fuzz on their heads, fuzz on their legs and bodies, and they're kind of built like a really fuzzy little Whippet. And those can be pretty handy. And he also has Yogs, so I think he has like 2 Yogs, and I think he has a wire hair dachshund as well.
Interesting. So I heard that he's very selective about who he lets come out with him. Is that true? Like he doesn't want like people that he doesn't know, or you need like a referral. Is that true? I heard something like that.
Yeah, I think they do like to have referrals. I think they get worried because they're a lot more into social media initially than we were. They're probably the first little group to post things for a while. So I think they just want to be safe in how they vet and have people come over.
Right. They don't want PETA infiltrating them.
Yeah, for me, I'm not really worried about it. If you want to come out and work the dogs on rats, like the police come up to us and say thank you for our service. So I'm not sweating someone coming out with us.
Yeah, that's another thing. Everybody was thanking us when we were walking. Like all the guys working in the kitchen, they were coming out and they're throwing boxes out, and they would see us with the dogs, and they'd be like, "Oh, thank you so much. Keep going, kill them all." It's great, man. It was great. what else was I going to say? I had something interesting that I was going to say. So that's the oldest club. The one in New York is the oldest club, right?
To my knowledge, yeah. I mean, I'm sure if you look back at the places in UK, I'm sure this is probably like a casual thing for them.
Oh yeah, they've been ratting a long time in the UK, and I'm sure ever since Europeans came to New York, and New York was a city, I'm sure they've been ratting with terriers.
I'm sure they were probably with those patterdales catching raccoons in the city. I guarantee you.
Oh yeah, that'd be fun. Have you done any of that, Marshall? Kill any raccoons with your dogs?
Henry will go after raccoons if we get lucky and we bolt one out of a hole, or we get try to work one out of a hole. Mostly just been on like pushed out groundhogs, fox, and I guess a good amount of raccoons. The thing is that my friend's patterdales are just pretty hard to where by the time the raccoon gets out of the hole, like the patterdales will put a lot of work on them.
Oh, so they're like just stumbling out of the hole and Henry's just grabbing them.
Henry's just like, you're done now.
Yeah. So now you just mentioned you brushed over foxes. What's the deal with that?
If I can try to get him on coursing a fox, I feel like that's the most fun to do, like in my state in Maryland with a dog of his speed.
Have you done that?
Yeah, I have. I have a video on Instagram of him doing some fun fox courses, and like they just bolt and shoot out of nowhere. I haven't gotten lucky in catching some of the ones that we've been at, but we've had some really fun chases.
Is he catching them?
I got one caught with a friend's dog, but him by himself in some of these spots, they're just so elusive.
Yeah, they're sneaky suckers. So now when the dog is grabbing them, like they're just overpowering it and just shaking it like they would with the groundhog. Because I know when he grabs the groundhog, he just grabs it and just...
He grabs it and shakes it and runs with it, basically. Like you see in the groundhog in some of those videos, he's just picking up speed and running and shaking it at the same time. Yeah,
man. I noticed in those videos that Harrison was sending me, like, and I hope we can get some good footage tomorrow, because when that dog, you're holding him, and then when that groundhog bolts out of that hole, man, the power that dog had, it just explodes with speed and just smokes that groundhog, man. It's so cool.
He doesn't think when he does that stuff. That is all fast twitch muscle. Like that is like my body is doing this before my brain understands the consequences.
Oh yeah, it's like a goshawk. It's like just the second he sees something moving, and he just is on it. That's awesome.
And he's so alert. Like sometimes even when the dachshunds are moving or doing groundhog stuff, he'd run up to him really fast and be like, "Oh, you're a dog. My bad." And just whatever else he is doing.
Yeah. But you said he has that collie in him. So, because you said like the greyhounds, they seem like my mom babysat greyhounds for a friend of hers, a nurse friend of hers. And I was a little kid, man. And my mom put them in the yard, and I'm out there and they're all friendly, and then they're laying down. And I remember as a little kid, I tried to lay on the dog, like with the dog. I thought it was like my buddy. Bro, that dog swung around on me and snapped at me like right by my face, and I freaking jumped up and ran in the house screaming. Like, and then an hour later, I wanted to be that. Oh yeah, dude.
Some are just sensitive like that. If they don't know you, they're like, "Oh, get away from me." If they don't,
like he didn't bite me, but he swung on me and snapped like right next to my head. Like, and I remember I ran in the house, and then I didn't want to be by the dog, but then it was my friend again, like 2 seconds later. So they're definitely a more high strung dog, but Henry didn't seem that way to me. He just seemed like super friendly and like obedient, and he understood. Like he was like in the right place at the right time. You didn't have to like call his name more than once. Like he was just on it. Like I think the lurcher is the way to go, especially if it's the traditional is crossed with a collie, because the collie is very intelligent, I think.
He also knows when the dogs are finding stuff for him versus when he has to find stuff.
Oh, right.
So yeah. He's pretty smart about that, where he's like, "Oh, if you're gonna find it, I'll kill it."
Yeah. He's like, "I'll just wait here and just kill whatever comes out of that hole." Tomorrow's supposed to get a little rain down in Maryland.
Yeah, but I'm hoping it'll be a little later in the day. So we'll get over there at 10:30 at like this dairy farm that Harrison has permission on, and they have this crazy petting zoo that looks like it's just they have like the woolly pigs, like the Mangalista pigs. That have all like sheep wool on them. It's really weird.
Casey might sneak over there and pet him a pig.
Oh yeah, you'll find out if your dogs are livestock broken there.
I've been known to pet a pig or two in my day.
It's a pig tickler.
Find you a squealer.
Yeah.
So I'm actually going to be in DC tomorrow, ratting conveniently.
Why are you not coming to Maryland? What's the deal?
I am meeting fellow podcaster John Munier to to breed one of my females with his male.
The famous John Munier.
Yes.
Awesome. Yeah, he's got good dogs. I saw him run at the Jersey meet, man. His dogs are great. They're good.
He
good
has the second most popular falconry podcast next to ours.
Yeah, but we're all on the same team. We love John. We're gonna have John on soon. Any day now, we're gonna have him on and put an episode out with John. Yeah, he's helped us with a couple things, technical things, and we're all on the same team. For those listening, those falconers that are still here with us listening, we're all on the same team. We love John. We love Falconry Chronicles. We're just adding a slightly more. I don't know how you would describe it, Aaron. How would you describe it?
Better.
Like Globo Gym, it's better than you.
Yeah, it's Globo Gym. If I want to level your gym to make an auxiliary parking structure for my members, then I will.
We're adding a rated R falconry podcast. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, pretty much, and it's good because we need room for both in the space. We need like a very formatted, proper, interview style, which is John, and then we need like the BSing, just like talking about random subjects, getting into the nitty gritty, like going down avenues that John, like he really doesn't have the time to go down because he has a certain set questions that he needs to ask and he has to get to the point of the interview. Otherwise it would be 5 hours long. So we're kind of doing a different thing, kind of separate from what he's doing, which is cool. So we're all kind of helping each other out, getting more information out to other falconers and ratters.
Yeah, you want to do a rated R one? You could do a live on the street ratting podcast.
Oh, dude, we gotta go live. We'll go live. We do it live out here. We'll go.
Fuck it, we'll do it live.
Yeah, let's go.
My friend, next time we're coming out, he's gonna bring his lure coursing kit and set up on that field also.
What the hell?
Like a Bull X machine?
Yeah,
you want to wear the dogs out halfway into the hunt?
No, we're gonna do it at the end. Yeah, in the middle of the hunt, that would be completely. It would bite us in the butt. But at the end, we'll do a little endurance test and kind of see where everyone stands.
Is he doing? So, is it a Bull X machine or is it a different machine?
I actually know. I think it's the new ones for like the dogs you see on Amazon.
Oh, you can buy it on Amazon now?
Yeah, they make a little like Amazon version. I don't know if that would help out falconry guys at all.
Oh, it would help us out in a second. Yeah, it would help us out in a second. Because the Bull X machine is great, but it's not cheap, and it comes from Europe, so the shipping's not cheap either.
This one's called like Fast Paw or something. It's called Fast Paw. You can make different like triangulations with it. You can get bigger ones.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I got one from a guy out in PA. He makes them like out of like he takes like batteries and like wires them up, and it worked. It worked great. It got my bird going. My bird did fine on it. But yeah, it's a huge. So do you know what it's called? It's called Fast Paw.
I think so. Yeah, Swift Paw or Fast Paw or something like that.
You hear that, people? If you're getting a new bird. Now. Get a new bird, yeah. And maybe we'll just take the sticker off and put Fast Talon on it.
There you go. Swift Paw.
Yep, Swift Paw.
It's literally a product from Shark Tank.
No way.
Really?
Yep. That's awesome. Yeah. Okay. So that's
I heard
a huge
Shark Tank mentioned multiple times today. Somebody was talking about eating crickets on Shark Tank.
Yeah, bro, that's what they want us to do. They want us to eat the bugs and do what we're told. Anyway.
Yeah. That's every liberal's dream come true is eating a big old cricket burger.
Live in the pod and eat the bugs.
Yum.
Yeah. Dude, we went from having a war over 2% tax to now being taxed 40% and nobody cares.
I saw you were posting that today.
Bro, that it drives me. I guess as a small business owner, you see how much you make, and then you see how much the government takes, like everybody gets their check and they're like, oh, that sucks, you know? But like when you're working and you're trying to like get customers and stuff and you're doing jobs and you're getting paid and you're getting checks, then the government comes in and takes like 35% of it unless you buy stuff and write it off. It's like it comes right out of your pocket. It's ridiculous. It's crazy. They just rob you basically. It's basically robbery because it's not basically, it's 100% robbery because if you don't pay them, you go to jail. Anyway.
Welcome to the Sporting Challenge, your anti-government falconry hunting podcast.
Y'all gotta wake up.
We talk about rat evasion and tax evasion.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So I think that just about covers it for now, I would say. Marshall, we would love to have you back on because we didn't really get to talk about the specifics of things like patterdales and all, which have gotten so popular.
Yeah, that definitely is probably a topic that should be touched up on, because they're getting even more popular than when I freaking got into them. It's crazy.
Yeah, we didn't really get into your history of like all the dogs you've ran, all the things you do. But yeah, we'll have you back on for sure. Maybe tomorrow we'll have a fun day killing groundhogs with dachshunds and lurchers, and then maybe like sometime next week we'll have you come back on. We could talk about the experience and how it was. And Aaron
That'd be cool.
Aaron can just wish he was there instead of being in DC. You're gonna be like an hour away from us, dude.
I know. If it works out tomorrow, I might try and hit you guys up. But I got a feeling by the time I get up there, you guys will probably be wrapping up for the day.
Well, you leave early.
The downside is you guys are going to be hanging out with Harrison, and that's going to suck for you. But
we'll shove him and his dog down a hole.
Yeah.
His little skinny ass will fit, won't it?
He'll fit down there. If Dickie doesn't get it, Harrison will get it.
Or Teddy will just climb down there and start like bucking shots. Oh my God.
Just shooting blind down the hole. Teddy's great. So yeah, what's your because did you know Teddy before coming out with Harrison, or that was your first time?
She came out ratting the first time. The first time I met Teddy was during ratting.
When was that?
With you guys, I believe. I'm pretty sure.
Weren't you there, Casey?
No, she didn't come with me. No, I would have remembered that for sure.
You're right. Yeah. It was me, you, her son, and her grandson.
That's right. Yeah, I remember the story. I wasn't there.
And she came out and got interviewed by my friend for the Washingtonian. It was pretty cool. It was great. It was good to get a lot of information from her, and watching her kind of like keep me and Harrison humble was pretty cool during that hunt. Mostly him.
She's the real deal, man. She is the real deal.
Yeah, she doesn't play around. Yeah, so that's cool. Yeah, that's cool. I mean, listen, man, she's done so much with all different kinds of dogs. She's done like any question I have, I ask her, and I'm thinking like, not that I'm gonna stump her, but like, I'm just asking to see, and then she's like, she knows everything about whatever I'm asking her already. I'm like, oh my God, she knows everything.
I would put the first 2 kills of those groundhogs that Henry got for Teddy. That's how he got them, because she would be like, hey, Marshall, you want to stand there with them? And be like, bam, groundhog. If you want to stand over there, bam, groundhog.
Yeah, because she's only killed like 1,000 of them. That's all she does for fun. She doesn't work. She's retired. All she does is all summer long, she's out there she used to run lurchers quite a bit. I'm sure she told you. And then she just all summer long, she would just kill groundhogs with the dachshunds, lurchers, and a 22 pistol. And that was it all summer long. Okay. Thanks everybody for joining us. We really appreciate you tuning in. Marshall, can you tell us where people can find you? Like, I know you mentioned a couple of videos you have on Instagram. What's your Instagram handle and your Facebook ratting group?
Instagram handle is Grit and Grin Terriers and Lurchers. The ratting group is Renegade Rebel Ratters. You can ask to join us on Facebook, answer the questions, and I'll add you.
Awesome. Dude, thank you so much again for coming on, and we'll see you next time.
See you then. See you.
All right. Once again, thank you guys for listening. We have an Instagram page. It's Sporting Chance Pod or Sporting Chance Podcast. I can't remember. Doesn't matter. Just look it up. You'll see us.
Why don't we look that up?
I'm an impromptu guy. I can't do like a script, otherwise I get nervous.
Sporting Chance Podcast.
Yeah, Sporting Chance Podcast is our podcast. That's our Instagram handle. We have a Facebook page too. Please follow us. We post clips and videos. So that's the cool thing about our podcast is that after our guests leave throughout the week leading up to their episode, I asked them to send me some clips and videos of their, whatever it is that they're doing, their dogs, their birds. And if they have videos or pictures, they send them. And then I clip and put everything together. I post like, little reels on social media for people to follow along and get the fun little clips. We had a guy pull a gun on somebody, dead bodies, a lot of fun stuff that we have on the podcast. And I just share clips. So if you want to see the clips and get updated on various things that we're doing and what we're up to, please follow us on social media. It's Sporting Chance Podcast. And I think on Facebook, it's the same exact handle. And we appreciate your support. And if you like what we're doing, leave us a 5-star review on whatever your preferred podcast platform is. That will go a long way in the algorithm, helping us move up the charts, which we hope to do. This podcast is for you, for those that are listening, not for us. We are just merely supplying the information and the entertainment for your daily listening, entertainment, and enjoyment and pleasure.
Lots of pleasure.
Lots of pleasure, whatever your pleasure may be.
Whatever wets your whistle.
Whatever wets your whistle. That's what that's our goal. So yeah, thank you so much. And we'll see you next time.